4th grade, you'll never guess where I am. Or maybe you can guess, I don't know. I'm at Newfields. Newfields used to be the Indianapolis Museum of Art, but now it's Newfields. Normally we get to take a trip here as a whole grade level in September, but today I get to be here by myself to show you some of my favorite parts. I'm gonna have to put my mask on now. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me and you'll be able to see a lot of the cool art that we normally get to do. You know, we've been working on our unit, how we express ourselves, and we've been looking at things in nature, like the way that we use soil and the way we use rocks and how all of these different things are formed. And you can see here on the grounds at Newfields, we use land in a lot of different ways. So I wanted to take us around and see the gardens. One thing that's really cool about Newfields is that if you come here, you get to see the outside art and the inside art. There are a lot of really cool gardens here at Newfields to check out. When you come into the entrance, you can also see the building. Check out this cool piece of art behind us. If you go in, it's actually textiles. And you know, this week in vocabulary, our list is about material texture and the way things feel. Look at the way they used different items that they could have found in their closet or in their cabinet. See if you actually recognize any of those items. I think I see a towel, I see a hat, I see lots of different things. And you know, we've got Patriot Day coming up this Friday. I feel pretty inspired by that. Look, there's even springs. Look how they used that kind of material. And you might notice on the wall, there are people who have posted different things because they pose the question that the American flag means different things to different people. And how does this artwork make you feel? Because art, like we've talked about, is designed to make you feel something. So the question I have for you is, what does this make you feel?
The Hoosier Group was a group of Indiana Impressionist painters working in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The most prominent artists in this group were T.C. Steele, Richard Gruel, William Forsythe, J. Otis Adams, and Otto Stark. They are mostly known for their landscapes. Although this picture doesn't appear at Newfields, it's a good way for you to see these famous artists. The following are some of the best paintings that these artists did.
Hey guys, did you know that you can make giant sculptures and someday be famous? Well, that's what Robert Indiana did. Here is a number 1, and if you look this way, there's a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and since you guys can all count, you could totally do this. Imagine what it would take for you to make sculptures this size at your house. I don't know, you might have to get permission. Your parents might not like it, but how cool would that be? Think about what kinds of materials would you use for that? If you used cardboard, would it last very long? If you used metal, how would you be able to meld those together? So you really have to give a lot of thought to the kinds of materials that you want to use. Have you ever seen those huge sand castles on the beach where they make different things? Well, those are great, but they definitely can't last forever. These guys, they've been around a long time and they'll be around a lot longer still. So whenever you make art, you always want to think about the materials that you use. It's simple, the colors are simple, and yet, I don't know about you, I think it's pretty cool. What do you think about furniture being art? These pieces are actually made out of cardboard, but they're sturdy enough to support your weight so you could sit down. Can you think of other uses for cardboard? Can you think of furniture being made out of other things? Have you ever thought about furniture being art? Take a look at this one. You might think it's just painted or a picture or something like that, but if you actually read the placard, it says that it's made of marble. Can you believe that that's the same kind of stone that we looked at when we were investigating rocks earlier? Marble, wow. Do you think you could do that with marble? Take a look at how this artist used glass to create this particular sculpture. They used lead glass, which is sort of soft, and then they cut it to the way that they wanted it. Then they polished each piece and added some gas to make colors. And if you notice, it looks different depending on which way you look at it. So this is the way from the front. And this is the way from the side. So think about all of the cool things you could be inspired to do with glass. Sometimes art can be a textile like this. This is made of cotton, wool, and fur, and it's from the mid-20th century. Think about how you could turn a blanket or a rug or even a napkin into art. There is so much to see at Newfields. I wish I could take you through every floor, into every room, and explain every piece of art. Unfortunately, even when we come as a class, it's hard to see everything. As fourth graders, we normally focus on American artists and especially artists from Indiana. Because we're also using nature to inspire us, we take a lot of time to look at landscapes and paintings and sculptures that have to do with nature. There are lots of other things you can see. You can learn about ancient art, art from Native American tribes. You can learn about African art, Asian art. You can come and look at furniture like I showed you in the contemporary gallery, or you can check out some modern art. There are so many sculptures inside and out that I hope someday you are either able to come visit the museum in person or check out their website. By going to their website, you can see all of the things that they have on display, as well as a lot of the pieces that they're not able to show that they actually have. You can click on the link in the description below, or you can visit the website listed here. I hope you find something that you enjoy and that inspires you to create something beautiful. So right now I am on the path to the garden area, and you can see all of the shrubbery behind me and the building. And this is just the path to get to the garden. And I will see you in a minute. And just like that, here we are in another part of the garden, and you can walk with me. We're going to go towards our sculpture. And it's really pretty warm today, but over here It's very shady. So take a look at this piece of art here. And I want you to think about what that looks like. We've been studying rocks. What does that look like it's made of? Do you notice how it's using the water to make a pretty sound? What kind of art could you make with rocks and water? How could you use plants in a garden to be pretty, like its own piece of art? And you might not be able to see it, but there is a quote along this ledge in the garden. It says, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." So I want you to think about that. You can't necessarily see all the things in life that are important. Take a look at this sculpture I found as I was leaving this side of the garden. One of my favorite things about it is that she has her faithful dog with her. And you know how I feel about dogs. Think about how we've talked a little bit about weathering and erosion, and how we talked about physical weathering and chemical weathering, and what kinds of things might have happened to this sculpture over the years. Think about, based on our experiments, what do you think this sculpture might be made of? Those are all really good questions. You know, one thing we've been talking a lot about during morning meeting are our feelings, and how we have complex feelings about a lot of things. We've also been talking about our characters and their feelings in reading and writing. So this particular sculpture outside in the garden is called Stumbling Man. Think about, what does it mean to stumble? How is stumbling different than just falling down or tripping? You can't really see his face, but how do you think he might be feeling? Have you ever stumbled? Have you ever had any feelings that inspired you to want to make something, like this artist? Strokes by Roy Lichtenstein. It says, "Vastly enlarged and boldly colored brushstrokes dance jubilantly in the air, with the tallest form soaring 40 feet. Lichtenstein, a pop artist famous for his 1960s paintings inspired by comic books, started a significant sculptural practice in the 1970s. Here, instead of taking motifs from popular culture, pop art, he chose brushstrokes as his subject matter." So check out how big these are. This red one sort of reminds me a little bit of bacon. If you keep walking around it, the yellow one, the tall one, goes up 40 feet, which is pretty tall. So there's a red one and 2 white and black ones, and 2 yellow and black ones. This is the formal garden at Newfields, and as we walk in, I want you to think about how a garden is a way that we're inspired by nature, because while all of these things are found in nature, people had to decide the way they wanted it to look, and in what order they wanted things to go, and the kinds of colors they wanted to be represented here. So think about how a garden, although it's nature, is actually a form of art. People are inspired by plants. Sometimes plants can make you feel happy. They can make you feel better if you're having a rough day. Some people think plants are beautiful. Some people think running water is relaxing, so fountains are nice. And you think about the way that the trees are shaped. And you think about how they added man-made features like the pergola to the garden. Think about the way that they've shaped the hedges. So all of these are ways that we use nature to inspire us. Think about some of the books you're reading. Some of them take place in nature. Can you imagine places that look like this in any of your books? Can you imagine any stories that you might write that have settings that look like this in your books? What do you think about this? I mean, it's not technically a waterfall, but it definitely gives you the idea of what a waterfall could be like if it were a little bit bigger and not man-made. I hope you had a great time walking around Newfields with me and getting to see some of the art outside, and I hope you're inspired by nature to create something of your own, either today or someday in the future. Please know that this is footage from a virtual field trip I created for my students. It is for educational purposes only.